Hey, Melissa here from GirlGoneFishing, and I'm launched on Kincaid Lake down here in Kentucky for the Cincinnati Kayak Fishing Kincaid Lake Tournament. So I've never been here before, did a little map study on Google Earth, and man, this lake looks great. It's one of those like long windy lakes. It's like a dammed up kind of river, and 800 acres. Looks really fishy, lots of little coves to duck into, some creeks to go up, and after last weekend, this lynx loves a good creek. So looking forward to getting going, and 3 minutes to lines in. Let's see what we can do. Lots of boats out here, a little wind to manage, but man, that's all part of the fun, right? Okay, let's get going and see if we can catch some fish today. So first off, full disclosure, no fish were caught in the making of this video. I skunked in this tournament, and going through the footage to edit it, it was really kind of boring, but it was fascinating what I realized, which is my perception of what was happening and the reality of what was happening were two totally different things. So I figured I'd use this footage and go through it like a director's cut style with the voiceover and tell you guys what I was thinking and what I saw when I was editing. The morning started off overcast with light winds and 65-degree water temp. So I started off with a squarebill crankbait, a chatterbait, buzzbait, wacky rig finesse worm, and a black and blue bitsy bug with a rage bug trailer. So a little finesse jig. So this really shows what I'm talking about and the difference between perception and reality. When I was talking about the tournament to people afterwards, I was convinced that the lake had been muddy from the time I launched up until, the end. But watching this clip, I was clearly wrong. So when I was going up the creek and thinking, should I go back to the main lake, I didn't really see a point because in my mind, the whole lake was muddy. But I was wrong, clearly. So I didn't have an opportunity to pre-fish for Kincaid, and I'd never been there before, but I did do pretty extensive research on Google Earth and Navionics, like a map study, and I was pretty comfortable with my plan. I was going to launch at the dam ramp and make my way all the way up to the upper end where the creeks come in. There were two really big branches of incoming waterways to this lake, and I was really excited to get up there and see what they had to offer. I paddled my way into some backwater sloughs that I had seen on Google Earth and really wanted to try, but all I found back there were carp spawning. They were spawning like everywhere in the shallows. So this dock I'm approaching here on the creek is one of the things I actually saw on Google Earth and marked on my Navionics to make sure that I fished. So when I watched this footage and saw that I just pedaled right on by it without even making a cast, I was kind of flabbergasted. I mean, what was I thinking? Why did I not throw? I'm holding a finesse soft plastic in my hand. Why don't I throw that to the boat? Throw it to the boat. Why are you leaving? Throw it to the boat. It took me about an hour to get from my launch ramp to up in the creek where I had planned to fish, and as I got there, there was a steady stream of anglers who had already fished up there and were leaving, telling me it was too muddy. But I didn't let that discourage me. Nope, I had a plan. I was going to stick to it, so I just kept going on up that muddy creek. On a side note, if any of you ladies know of a good rain bib that actually fits a woman with hips and is waterproof and breathable, please let me know. I keep trying different stuff and it either doesn't block the rain or doesn't fit very well. This creek was so pretty, and it's the kind of situation that makes me just very thankful to be there and be in that moment and to have that opportunity. So it wasn't great. This was kind of mid-April, so it was really high and muddy, but I really want to go back in the summer when it's lower, and I bet you can catch some great fish back there. So I switched to a Strike King KVD 1.5 squarebill in chartreuse blackback, the hard knot kind, because it has like a little bit of a more solid thump and a brighter color, so I was hoping the fish could see that in the mud. And I was rotating that with a black and blue bitsy bug finesse jig with a little blue baby rage craw trailer and a Ned rig with a big green pumpkin TRD. I just kept making my way up the creek, and it just kept getting muddier and muddier. I was starting to question myself, but kept thinking, no, I have to stick to the plan, have to stick to that plan to go up the creek. So I finally hit the point in the creek where I couldn't go up any farther paddling because of that riffle up ahead of me. Now I really need to check into the KBF rules because I didn't know if I was allowed to drag my kayak over that riffle because there was plenty of water I could fish past it if I did. But last thing I heard, you had to be able to float somewhere. So what I did know was by KBF rules, you're allowed to exit your kayak and fish as long as you're within sight of the boat. So I took advantage of that and tried to fish above that riffle. But it was not successful, so I ended up just relaunching and starting my float back to the main lake. So I ran into Mr. Brandon Palmer of Proteus Rods and Little Miami Outfitters, and he was showing off his 8-inch fish he caught. So by Cincinnati Kayak Fishing rules, it makes me laugh just to look at it, but by Cincinnati Kayak Fishing rules, we have an 8-inch minimum, and that's supposed to help encourage anglers, make you feel like you got your 5-fish limit. So here I am making yet another mistake in wasting time fishing my way out of this creek when I really should have just boogied my way out to the main lake and found better quality and tried to find some fish. I'd already spent 4 hours in this creek and hadn't got a bite. I did not need to be like fishing my way out. So just as a little side note, if you guys don't have a horizontal rod holder system in your kayak yet, you should really look into getting one. They are really handy to have. So this one is the Yak Gadget Flex Rod Stager System, and it allows you to put 2 rods horizontally and your paddle, or you can put your paddle somewhere else and use it to hold 3 rods. Either way, it allows you to have a rod right there at the ready, and you can even go out without using the vertical rod holders if you need to go under trees and stuff. So according to my Navionics app, the water's a little deeper on either side of this bridge and like near the pilings. So it would make perfect sense that I take the time to drop a soft plastic or maybe a jig down by those pilings and catch fish. But instead, I just flung a square bill crankbait around and just kept going. But that's okay because there's always another opportunity coming up, like this great isolated dock here, and I've got the black and blue jig on, so wait, I just missed the dock there. Why did I not throw to the dock? I don't understand. I just went right by that dock and didn't fish it again. So here I am pedaling by yet another beautiful target. We've got an isolated dock and a pontoon boat. So I didn't even try. I didn't even make a cast. Well, it's 1:30. I'm back here on the main lake. It's windy, so I switched to a little bit of a heavier finesse jig in black and blue because it's more pretty. And I'm going to try to throw that up at wood and docks and stuff and see if I can get something. Got to make something happen, running out of time. So now I guess I'm really going to fish docks and not just go by them. Nope, I'm still ignoring the docks, but I love how I look back and study it thoroughly even though I didn't make a single cast towards it. What really gets me is what did I think I was fishing for right here? I'm just throwing a square bill around randomly, not really aiming at any kind of target, and floating by these amazing structure options. Let's be honest, by this point in the video, we would all be more shocked if I did make a cast to that dock, which I didn't. And I just cannot remember what was going on in my head as I just went by dock after dock without making a cast. So I made my way down towards the lower end of the lake, towards the dam, and found a cove with some much better water quality in the back and some nice wood in the water. Put on a Z-Man Fatty Z and decided to start practicing my skipping. I gotta say, it doesn't always work out as well as that one did. That one, every once in a while you get the rock star cast. Most of the time you get the backlash. But that cast deserved to catch a fish. It did not. So this is one of those situations that I am so thankful to have my Hobie Lynx from Strictly Sailing Kayak to be able to stand up and hurl this buzz toad across these emerging lily pads was just so much fun. And one of these days I'm actually going to catch a fish doing it. But this is the kind of thing that I could not do when I first started fishing the trail in my Old Town Loon. I mean, it's a fantastic kayak, but it's a sit-in paddle kayak, and you just could not stand up in it. So it limited things like this. This is just so much more freedom on that Hobie Lynx. Well, it's 3 o'clock, line's out, and I never got a fish. I mean, I didn't get a crappie, a shad, a minnow, nothing. This was really, I don't know, I don't want to say depressing because it was a beautiful day. I covered a lot of water, learned some stuff. I'm going to say I'm in the experimental phase of my bass fishing career where I have to try stuff to learn stuff, and as you try new stuff, sometimes it fails miserably. So today going up the creek failed miserably, but it's something I wouldn't have done last year. and it's broadening my horizons and my range of fishing knowledge, so I can't count it as a failure, only gosh, I wish I caught a fish. So thanks to Strictly Sailing Kayak for the Hobie links. I covered over 8 miles today in the really strong winds. My legs are dying from all this exercise, but it's really good. I never would have been able to do it in my paddle kayak, so I'm very grateful for this kayak and the ability to get out here and fish in winds like this. So the more I do it, the more I'm going to learn, and eventually it'll pay off with fish. So just going to file this one away as a learning experience and move on to the next one. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate ya, and I promise next time I'll try to get some fish for you. All right, see you out on the water on the next one.